Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Somewhere Under the Rainbow with your hosts, Don Coyote and Laurie Morningstar. Hello, planet. It's Somewhere Under the Rainbow. Thanks for coming. Thanks for showing. Thanks for seeing it. Thanks for coming to see our show. This is our first show. This is Lionsgate today. My co-host...
Laurie Morningstar.
Laurie Morningstar. And me, I'm Don. I'm Coyote Don, or if you're more adventurous, just Coyote. Mm-hmm. There's Coyote over there in the corner, and there's there's coyotes all over this place.
All over the land, yeah.
All over the land where we are.
All over the
Where
land.
Are we?
We're at Morningstar Transformations, and we're doing an ascension workshop today. We're in the middle of it, and one of my... students went over to the labyrinth and he's like, there's a coyote in the back. Of course there is. We're doing a workshop.
This was today?
This was today.
That's fantastic.
It's a good sign.
And we're in Greater Vancouver area in British Columbia, Canada. Can you tell we're in Canada? You can't tell.
Eh?
What's that about? Yeah. So, hey YouTube, hey planet. Thanks for showing up. So this is our first show. This is 8/8/2020. This is the Lionsgate today. And the Lionsgate is what, Laurie?
It's a portal opening to allow a lot of energy to come into the planet. It's also the Orion as belt aligning up with the Giza Pyramid. Again, allowing a lot of energy to come to the planet. So it's a big transformation from August 3rd to the 13th. It's been like a big portal opening.
So today being the Lionsgate is all about new beginnings, huh? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And letting go of stuff.
Yeah, and clearing out old stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what this show, I think we collectively think is, one of the big prominent things about this show. Mm-hmm. Why it is that we want to be doing this show. And a lot of it has to do with Laurie's body of work, your whole career. As, what are you? You are. We took some notes earlier. Okay, referring back to my notes, Laurie Morningstar is the author of The Alchemy of Ascension. Mm-hmm. This book, which we're going to talk about.
My life.
Yeah, which is your life story thus far.
Yeah.
Right. And creator of this amazing healing modality that Laurie calls
emotional alchemy.
Yes. And Laurie is also an ascension teacher.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we're doing this weekend.
Which is something.
It is. It is
something. It's a real
amazing
thing, man.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. Okay, so based on all that stuff, so what's emotional alchemy?
It's being aware of what you're thinking, saying, and doing in every moment of your life. And doing something about it in a quick breathing technique, using your imagination, And it's less than easy in the beginning because you always have to check yourself, right? And people are less than aware of what they're thinking, saying, and doing in every moment. But you come and see me once and I dig right in and I can show you what you're saying, what you're thinking, and what you're doing. And you can see all the emotions and limiting decisions that you're doing. And that's all I want to do is I just want to make people aware of that. Yeah. And just by being in my energy sometimes and me talking, it's like this energy's happening and the clearing's happening. You're not the only one. It just happens. And so what that is like raising the vibration up, right? Keep raising it.
That was me clearing. I wasn't yawning. That was like clearing. That was a release from emotional energy grid from all of the 10 trillion cells in my body, letting go of something
you no longer need. I know
that I don't no longer need. Mm-hmm. So one of the reasons, backtrack a little bit. We were doing a sound check last night and we're going to go over a few things from last night. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how did it turn out that we're here doing this show? So me, myself, always wanted to do a YouTube show. Mm-hmm. Got a little bit into it a long time ago. And now, the time has actually been right for me. So I actually have done a lot of work, a lot of healing, a lot of clearing, ton of clearing very, very recently. You know, I think that happens to very much coincide with, you know, what's going on the planet. You
Absolutely.
know, there's so many of us, like so many of us that are like going through major psychological shifts in their life. If you're watching this, you probably have been questioning a lot of things about your life. Am I right? So, you know, this last month, I mean, even this all of 2020, really, right? All of 2020 has been a whole psychological shakeup, a whole emotional shakeup of the whole planet, the whole collective. All of us, all of humanity. Okay, so my thing was I always wanted to do a YouTube show about healing, about what I call healing reality, right? Helping people, helping the great awakening that's going on the planet, helping heal everything that's wrong with all of our species that we know is wrong, that we are not really empowered to really do anything about. I think that in the past, well, you were talking about it last night in terms of the precession of the equinoxes, how we're at the end of our 26,000 year cycle currently right now. If you're interested in this, go and Google this, precession of the equinox, right?
Yeah.
And this is the whole Earth goes through this every 26,000 years.
We're coming from the masculine and going into the feminine, which is the flow, right? So a lot of people, what are they doing? They're running around doing everything, right? But the flow is the feminine, right? And it's like, I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, you know, which is not very good when you're a big business person, right? But I'm not a big business person. I'm a healer, and so I show up.
It's hard when you have a day job.
Yeah. Well, you have a day job. I have no day job. Yeah. My day job is when somebody phones me, I'm on the job, right? Whether it's the day, the morning, the evening, whenever people need me to do whatever, over the phone, you know, in person, you know, with the horses. I love working with my horses, right? And, you know, I'm just like, I'm on call, but I like my job.
Okay. So now, my whole role was to use my words and to use my drama to, you know, help heal reality and help people just for one, plant the seed of allowing people to see how it's possible to live like a more advanced, a more enlightened species. You know, like, you know, things like money, you know, things like things like corruption, things like criminality, things like all this darkness and all this kind of stuff. It will eventually be gone. It can't survive. It won't survive. We're moving, you know, our planet is, you know, we're getting higher and higher and higher in these frequencies. And then what's happening is all the darkness that's been coming up for the last 3-4 years, right?
Yeah, since 1987, literally, but it's really out onto the scene. And in the last 3 or 4 years,
I'd say like 2017, this exponential growth.
2017, on my birthday, was the last straw before the big changes started coming, right?
Yes, and now it's like we're going faster and faster and faster, and the changes are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. To basically to help everyone look in the mirror and say, is this what we are? Is this what we've become? Who are we really? You know, Who are we to be allowed? Who are we that we allow this kind of crazy injustice and this crazy darkness and this crazy evil and the endless wars and, you know, the poverty, half of the planet in poverty for thousands of years.
And the very small percent with all the money.
Right. So it's like, it's like at some point we have to collectively say as a species, why do we let this happen? And that is the moment when we start to release and wake up and start seeing things from this higher level of consciousness. Like, you know, we cannot be an enlightened, advanced species while still having these dysfunctional systems, all around us. So that was this whole basis for me wanting to ever do a show and wanting to get in front of people so I could actually comment and say, okay, you know, what's the perspective on this, and how would this look like? How does our existing, you know, structures look like from the perspective of like an advanced society or the society that we'd prefer to evolve into or we'd prefer to be? And so I've always wanted to kind of do that. And after I got to this, after I continuously doing this work of spiritual growth and healing past trauma and, just trying to, we could go down the path to talk about our own individual spiritual and, healing journeys. But suffice is to say that, in the real recent, I had done some real hardcore work, a lot of emotional alchemy with Laurie and hypnotherapy and things that were like working for me, that were attuned to me, that I needed to have, to the point where I cleared some major past trauma. And I got to this place where some major burdens had been lifted. And I apologize. So it's like
nice clearing.
was clearing. So by the way, you'll see a lot of this in our show. So as we're doing clearing, there's a lot of yawning, and I have to apologize if there's a lot of burping. Okay. So it's
doing my best not to.
Yeah. So it's like there's a lot of when you're clearing stuff, when you're doing this work and you're clearing stuff out of your, emotional grids and your frequencies and your whole cellular stuff, this stuff tends to come out your gastral stuff because, you tend to release and detox out your breath primarily. So,
a lot of people think, you can just keep sending the light and make it all fluffy and everything. But you know what?
No, we're we're physical.
It needs to come out
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that, to me, I look at that as like, that's the shamanic way, right? Is like to release it like that instead of just like what some people think should be, just use more light, right? I use a lot of light, but it's like, what's the energy doing instead of controlling it, right? It's like, I look at it like I'm just sitting here, and I know that we used to do this in past lives, right? And it's like just channeling all that energy to come through. And whether it's with you or a client or whomever, it's like that energy's just coming through and healing whatever it is that you need. And I'm not giving to you. I'm not forcing it to you. It's just that I'm living in my heart all the time, in the sacred heart. And my intention is to walk in the flow and in that sacred heart. And when you do that, this is why I encourage my students, even in the workshop today, we talked about it. It's like to live in the heart all the time. When I take you into that meditation and I pull you back out, I want your energy to stay there and just your awareness to come out. And leave that yourself down in that good feeling. Because once we get out of the meditation, what do? We're out, and then we're, talking about stuff and off doing whatever. And we forget to remain in that good space. It's like me when I was working with...
You get lost in the day-to-day.
Yeah. I was working with the Shruti box today. And I don't know if you weren't here, but...
Google that. What's a Shruti box?
A Shruti box is like a harmonium that I can use with my voice and make noise. I will bring it on one time, right?
Yeah, okay, you're going to have to bring it on.
Yeah. And so what it does was like everybody's energy just went on and went into this nice, as a couple of them said, it's like everybody's energy went on to this one frequency. And then we started clearing, and all of that energy just cleared. I kind of forgot what we were talking about.
No, because we were talking about the clearing. We were talking about they've like why we wanted to do this show, and I kind of we kind of segued into this, and it was really interesting because as a teacher now, after 20 plus years of being on your own spiritual path of spiritual growth, now you're doing workshops. You've created you've done so much with all these other modalities that you've cherry picked all of the the important stuff and crafted your own methodology for healing people, the thing or helping people heal themselves, should absolutely. I say. Thank you. And this whole the workshop that you're on doing today, it was really interesting because we had been talking about emotional alchemy, but here you are talking about a group of people doing all this clearing all at the same time. And then when you have a group of people getting together with the same intent, doing the same thing, it gets biblical pretty quickly, right?
Very, very much so.
Right. I'll have to think if anyone's watching and can quote scripture and refer back to Jesus when he said when multiple people mass in my name, something like that. It has to do with the Fibonacci.
Taking three more than three and more. One person, you can be powerful. Two people, even better. But three, like the Holy Trinity, above, below, and the us, the divine child, or 3 people to create something with the same intention, right? Like you want to create something in the Sacred Heart, like we will tomorrow. We'll activate our Merkaba, we'll activate the beams of light and do all of that work. Well, that's us manifesting for ourselves, right? And then we'll manifest whatever else we want to manifest besides the Merkaba tomorrow, right? However, if somebody wants to get together and clean the air, clean the ocean, clean the land, right? It's like all we have to do is get together and all have the same intention and do the breathing and do the work together. Clear the emotions,
Together.
Send the light out. And, 3 is great, but we have like 10, 12 people today.
Global, and these global mass meditations.
Yeah.
Right? The same principle. Same principle, except, you could be sitting with a dozen people, with 6 people. If you sit with 100 people, and you're sitting there meditating on a single intent to do something, it's like you are literally taking control.
Absolutely.
The level of consciousness and the shared consciousness is as a technology. It's like people don't actually think about this in terms of it being an actual technology, but it, we'll get there. So that was a lot of bit of segue.
I just want people to know that we're super powerful as human beings. We are supercomputers, right? We are in the matrix, right? And if you think that you're not, right, it's like eat a bunch of garbage and see how you feel, right? Or eat a bunch of good food and see how you feel, right? I look at it like I'm a healer, so whatever spirit's telling me to go do when I'm working on the person, then it works, right? So they're telling me what to do, I'm doing it, and then it's happening, right? So how can we shift that into our everyday reality and create whatever it is that we want? We can create misery. It's easy to do that. Just think and run off all your emotions. But when you start to check your emotions and you start to raise your frequency and think, oh, I'm going to create that. And the next thing you know, it shows up. And people are always like shocked, but really you put your intention on it and it showed up.
How long did it take us to put this show together?
Not very long.
Y'all can't see. I'll cut to one of the external cameras in a minute, so you can see. We set up Laurie's house. We set up a studio in Laurie's house. Yeah. This came together we put this together in mid-July. Now we're on the 8th of August in 2020, which is our launch. And it just like everything we needed came exactly into place, exactly what we needed, exactly when we needed it.
And all the stuff that I've had for a long time, it's like, oh, I've got this and I've got that. And like, I'm not a techie person. He is. I'm a healer person, right? But it's like all the little things that I had that I never thought I would actually use.
Medicine woman.
Yeah. I never call myself these things.
You wanted to be you said, let's go. When we go back into your life story, that will come out.
Yes.
So yes, but yes, you were saying all of these things that you found around the house.
Yeah, it was really good, right? It was like, I'm like, oh, well, that wasn't a waste of money buying that. Because I'm like, oh, when am I ever going to use that, right? I'm not a tech person at all. I'm like, I just want to get on, and I don't have Facebook anymore, so they banned me.
Uh-oh. Are you unlocked yet?
No. Too much truth, man. Missing my channel, that was it. We're going to be good on here for now.
Okay. So that's a little bit about me. So I've been, what am I, 40 something? So I've been working on my own spiritual growth now for since I was, late teen, just a young adult, right? Following everything, like so many people out there. If you're watching this and you're the type of person that's always gone from researching this one spiritual path, this healing, this modality, you're following your spiritual path, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm like so many out there that are now, thanks to YouTube and internet, are now appearing just like we're appearing, right? So I'm one of these people, I do technology, I do IT for my day job, right? But, that's not what I am, right? That's what I do. Right. It's one of the things that I train myself to do, that I'm gifted in. I get technology, I get tech. And so that's, but I mean, it's like you ask anyone that works with me on a day-to-day basis, am I a typical IT guy? No. Right. I'm a person. I have all these traits, which are now will apparently be coming out on the show, just like this.
Yes.
So, a lot like you, a lot like everybody who's watching. Right. So all of these people on our spiritual paths, and so me, I had a reading a long time ago from a cool dude by the name of Michael Elijon. Okay, Elijon, heard of this guy? Okay, so yeah, he used to be Northwest U.S. and I think he's now down in Florida. But I think he went through some pretty hard times. Okay, he was a channel. Okay, so it gave me a reading, and the entity that came through was telling me about, telling me giving me a lot of downloads, telling me a lot of, giving me a lot of missing information and helping me a lot. And one of the things that he said was that, you're gonna heal. One of your gifts is to heal with words. And that kind of really, so I was like, yeah, okay, you're absolutely right. I love writing. I love talking. I love looking at perspective and seeing other people's perspectives and all of that approach and healing reality. So using words to heal reality, to help people awaken and help realize that, okay, you can't see the forest for the trees. You're in the matrix, but you can't see that you're in the matrix because you're in the matrix. Yeah. You can't see that, a global financial system that's keeping us all
enslaved.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we're not supposed to have money. Like, as an enlightened society would operate without money. An enlightened society would operate without war, without poverty. We would treat our children with immaculate respect and the utmost care, and same with our elders and our seniors with immaculate. And there would be no poverty and all of this, right? So we're too busy in the matrix to see it, right? So it's like we have to do shows like these to plant the seeds of awareness, to say, oh, what do you mean we could actually possibly live in a world without money? How would that actually work? Would everyone still go to work? Yeah, you'd go to work doing the thing that you love to do. Yeah, and you do it because you'd enjoy doing it, and it would be a gift of service. And that level of frequency that you do, huge. So that was kind of the whole purpose for me getting in front of the camera and creating this whole YouTube show. I wanted to do it forever, but I didn't want to just be the guy behind my computer. Like a lot of the guys do that on YouTube, and they're awesome at it. They're just them and the camera, and they're straight in, and their content is awesome. Like SG, SG is great, but Red Pill 78.
X22. Yeah, but they get up,
But those guys that's their living. Yeah, YouTube's their living. Yeah, right. So it's like, that's awesome. So I needed to do this gig, but I wanted to take it to the next level. I didn't just want to be that guy in front of the computer. And so as it turned out, Laurie and me were getting into contact, and then, I just threw that idea. I was actually thinking about it. I was thinking about it on and off for a long time, like partnering with you, because I started a Blog Talk Radio, show these years ago, and you're like the first person I interviewed on Blog Talk Radio, right? But because I hadn't cleared what I needed to clear, I couldn't persevere on that. I couldn't get through. I couldn't see that through to the end. It petered away. I lost my focus, went into, it wasn't long after that I went straight into, Dark Night of the Soul for 10 years.
Good stuff, eh?
Yeah. Don't you love Dark Night of the Soul? By the way, right? It's like the whole planet right now is doing Dark Night of the Soul.
And if they're not, they're
the hero's journey. It's like, get ready for it. It's like when your world falls apart, right? When your world falls apart, it's like if you're an addict, that's you hitting rock bottom. It's you, it's when you're being shaken awake, but it's like, and a lot of us, you can go from all these different things, depression, whatever. Okay. So then that never happened. That, then I finally started coming out of that 10 years later. It feels like 10 years. It wasn't 10 years. Feels like 10 years, but it wasn't. Okay. But it was a long time later, right? And then just recently, with what's going on in the planet, I was just like, we're all just motivated. It's just we're all in boot camp right now. It's just we're all being pushed through the brick wall. Yeah. Right now with everything, right? And if you're here watching this, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. You wouldn't be here otherwise if you didn't resonate with what I'm saying. So that was what made me say, okay, you know what, Laurie, you want to do a show? You want to partner up and do this show? And I knew you were going to say yes before you even said it. Okay. So now I'm going to pass the talking stick over to my co-host, and I want to know why. And so you can tell me now why it is that you're here. How is this working?
Well, actually, when you said you were going to do, because I did a little podcast before, and when you said that you were doing, it didn't work out. I did a few shows, and it was like the tech guy was terrible.
It's so hard to find a good tech guy.
It's hard to find a good tech guy.
You know, it's like when you find a good tech guy, you know,
you want to persevere and keep with that guy.
Yeah. Don't piss off.
Something.
Don't piss off the tech guy
or the tattoo artist
or the car mechanic that you love.
Yeah. So when Don said that he was going to do this show, I was like, I wonder if I can get in on that show. Like, I really want to do a podcast again.
But what did I mention it?
Yeah.
I dropped.
You told me that you were doing a podcast, and I was like, man, I want to do that. I wonder if he'd like let me in on his podcast. And it was like reeling around in my mind for a while. And so when you called me up that one day and you kept like, you know, you took a while to get around to the question, right? And I was just like waiting patiently to go, yes, I'm in.
That's trippy.
Yeah. So I was laughing.
That's new knowledge. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was out walking my dog, right? Warrior, right? The barking you heard in the background is a
I hope he could come into the shot.
Yeah, one day we'll get him in here. He'll love. He's a big sucky, right?
Oh, you can't really do... Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he'll be good. So, that's how it happened. And then it was, I think that was in the end of June. And then by July, it was like, okay, we're going to get a couple of shows done by, mid-July. And I'm like, okay. He's a leaper.
I'm always like,
Yeah. And so here we are.
Ambitious.
Yeah. I'm a flow person, right? So it's like, okay, what do we need to do? What do we need to get, right? And as I wrote my little list out, right, you were like so gung-ho. I've got all this going on. He's setting up all the Facebook stuff, all the media website, everything that you were setting up
somewhere under the rainbow.ca.
That's the one,
as in Canada.ca. Somewhere under the rainbow.ca,
and you'll find all our shows there. So
sorry, we'll talk about the site and we'll talk about all the housekeeping YouTube stuff later.
Yeah. So anyways, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get on and
why now? Why YouTube? Why YouTube podcasty thing, and why now?
Because I want to reach the people, to help the people, because I'm an ascension teacher, an emotional alchemist, and it's like my whole thing is to get out there to people. I want to do some of these shows that it's like we want to do some emotional alchemy, like, and help you to clear some of these emotions. And I also have like so many friends that I know, like my friend Aria Squire that's going to be coming on for Elder Heart Wisdom. I'm super stoked.
Laurie has a roster.
Yeah, I have a roster.
I was like, we're like three. Every time I talk to her, every time I text you back and forth, she's got another person who's gonna come on the show, and like crazy interesting people.
Yeah,
are gonna be on this show.
Yeah, just
years of it. You just wait, y'all. You just wait until you see what's coming.
Yeah, it's just amazing that, like, every time I talk to somebody, it's like, yeah, I want in, right? Channelers like Blossom Goodchild or Valerie Donner from Mount Shasta, right? And, just my niece that I do emotional alchemy with, and she channels Star Nations and light language, and we'll have her on pretty soon.
Okay, since we're talking about that, so, like, we had made some notes earlier. Okay. So some of the notes that you had made about why to do this show: healing, awakening, truth, ascension, emotions. But to talking about guests, amazing local and global international healers.
Yeah. And channelers and medicine people
people, artisans.
If you feel drawn, you can go down. We got an
artisans.
Yeah.
People that make amazing crafts and art.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're going to have an artisan
up
wall
here in Canada
where they can,
and internationally,
where they can put their art up, and we're going to have crystals.
Oh, we should totally, then we can back the camera out and then show more of the Great Orange Wall.
Yeah.
With all the beautiful art. Oh, yeah. If you want something on the wall, in the shot, let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know. Comment in the comment.
Yeah. It's going to be fun.
Shop owners. That was the one I loved.
Yeah.
Shop owners.
Well, crystal shop owners, because the guy that I know, Nish's Crystals, what he's done is he went down to Brazil and went shopping down there and spent probably $250,000, came back with a container full of crystals, right? And opened this store, and I really want to get him on, and he's a Hindu guy.
Like
and
regularly.
I was
regularly.
With his crystals, with different crystals.
You remember You know how like on the late night TV shows on Carson,
Yeah.
Johnny Carson, Jay Leno, who's the latest guy now? Kimmel.
I don't
No,
want to
like-
talk about the perverts.
Oh, those guys. Okay, never mind their names. They
Yeah.
shall go unnamed. But the late night show guys. But they always bring the pets. They always bring the zoo guys on, right? Every once in a while, it was the zoo episode. So we're gonna get the crystal guy on.
We're going to get the crystal guy on.
And we're gonna have like every once in a while the crystal guy will show up, and it's like, here's a new crystal.
Yeah. And I met him through one of the shops that I was working at, Infinite Serenity in North Langley there. And
Oh yeah, if you're wondering where we are, by the way, we're outside Vancouver, British Columbia.
yeah. And so I went. He invited us to one of his ceremonies, and it was a house blessing ceremony. It was her new house, and I was downstairs working with one of the sisters, and it was so interesting because we're doing all the work, and one of the ladies comes down to get us, and I'm like, I can't. We're like in the middle of all this breathing, like she can't go anywhere, and it was funny because we missed most of the ceremony, but all that good energy from the blessing came downstairs and helped out with the healing that I was doing. And I brought some cards. They're Ascended Master cards. And I thought, well, I'm not sure if she's interested in cards, but the cards are like telling me pick one. So I'm shuffle it, and they're like that one. And I flip it over and it's Lord Shiva. And she's kind of coming back from her thing, and I'm like, I picked a card for you, and here it is, right? And she takes it in her hand, and she's looking at it, and then she turns it over, and it's the Sri Yantra, and she turns it over some more, and she's looking at it, and she's looking at me, and she goes, this is my guide. He follows me everywhere and protects me. And I was like, well, he wanted to let you know he's here. And when I had picked the card,
This kind of stuff happens.
my whole heart,
Like
I
this
just almost
is
started crying,
this is
right?
normal.
Yeah.
This kind of stuff is normal with Laurie, and as you it's actually, to be honest,
Yeah.
like all of what you're talking about, all of these happenings and these synchronicities and the way the energy of the universe works, and the way that it works with, people that are of higher frequency, the entities that are of higher frequency, and people that live with us here in our lives, our guides, all of these spiritual, traditional scripture, saints, right? Archangels, angels,
Mother
right?
Mary Magdalene.
Yes.
You want to call them Jesus, Sananda, Namshita.
Yeah.
We've all been here many, many times, right?
Yeah.
We've all done many jobs.
So these things all happen. It's like this grand interconnected consciousness that we all share. It doesn't matter if you're a higher life form, if you're not incarnated here now, or if you're in your more natural higher state, or if you're here in this life, or both at the same time, or in many places at the same time, multidimensionally and multi-universe.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a fun show.
I wanted to share a little bit about, because we're talking about the magic, right? It's about the dragons. I don't know if people notice, but look up to the sky, right? There's a lot of crisscrosses in the sky from the chemtrails, but if you look sometimes, it's like there's a lot of dragons out there. And birds, I've noticed birds. I saw when I was walking over here, I didn't make it down to the beach, right, to sun gaze, but I'm walking over here, and I wished I'd had my camera because it looked like the head of a crow with the sun in the beak.
You're talking about a cloud, though.
I'm talking about a cloud.
Yes.
And the sylphs is the elemental for the air, and so they draw in the clouds.
Air elemental.
The clouds show me many things and many
Yes.
faces through there.
And you're not a medicine woman, or you don't like to call yourself a medicine woman. You look up at the cloud and you're actually seeing, you're getting communication from the earth and the elementals and stuff
Absolutely.
like that. Like, no doubt. That's what I was actually getting at. Is like after you do like what I've been actually starting to notice, and that is when you start to travel down the spiritual path, and you start to travel down this path of healing and everything. So I mean, I'm not sitting here next to a medicine woman because I'm not a medicine man, right? It's like I absolutely am, right? Whatever I did and whenever I did it, but it's like
It's all in there.
It's all in there in the past, the present, at all times. But as you clear, the more and more you're clearing, the more you're awakening, and the more you're receptive, and the more you're able to actually understand and communicate with higher forms of life, you know, and the earth herself, and you know, like all of the life around you, like trees. After a while, you start to hear the trees, like you know, things like this. Would you say, like, if I told you I was hearing the trees, you'd think that was like, you know, typical of you know, crazy person, right? But no, I mean, if you just calm yourself while you're walking through the woods, and you just open and you just make yourself available, you know, you can hear them singing, you can hear the songs, you can hear the.
I had some people coming here, and I got a big tall tree out the back of my back door, and it's a big fir tree.
That's a Douglas fir, right?
It's a beautiful fir, right?
Yeah.
And it reaches down, and it almost touches my door, right? The bottom branches, right? And one day I was out there, and I saw this light come from the top of the fir and over, and it was like almost looking down at all of us, and then went back into the top of the fir. And I'm like, I wonder what these people are about. And it turned out it was like a dangerous situation, right? But it's like, I thought it was very interesting that spirit showed itself to me and protect me, right?
Yeah. So I had an earlier event earlier today when, you know, I became, you know, I had a clearing, but I've been doing so much clearing in the last, you know, month or so that all of a sudden, like, my intuition is heightened. My, you know, my third eye is actually starting to activate. I've been saying to my wife the last few days, you know, like, I wake up in the morning and I have a headache here. Okay,
It's
for the last couple of days. And it's like, okay, now am I dehydrated? Or did I not get enough of water? You know, did I sleep with my mouth open? Or, you know, am I doing astral work in my dream time and my third eye is opening? And, you know, and it's like, and then today I'm out on the property in the labyrinth, you know, with the technology of the labyrinth and the, you know, the positioning of all of these stones and all of this stuff. And I'm having a vision. I'm having an experience of, you know, communicating with a horse that I once knew in some previous life, who came to me to, you know, tell me about, to help me release a trust issue that I was having by showing me how much we had trusted each other, to showing how much I had trusted him in the past and what that was like, because I haven't been trusting in my own life now. And that was a huge release. And that was just earlier today. So, you know, as you're more and more on the spiritual path and you're clearing more stuff, this kind of stuff does become prevalent. And when you're on this path, you start to notice it, and you first start to notice it when you see the clock say 11:11. When you start seeing the clock say 11:11, when you happen to take notice, when you happen to look at the clock, oh, I looked at the clock. What time is it? Oh, it's 11:11 again.
All these special numbers, right?
Yeah.
Double numbers, triple numbers.
That's the beginning of it, right? That's this, you know, and you start looking up the meaning of these numbers on the internet. Just do a search for 11:11, you know, or angel number 11:11. Start to find all this stuff. So that's the kind of thing this is the kind of life that Laurie's lived now for like 20 years or
30,
more.
Yeah.
30 years or more. And it's like, you look back upon your own career. You know, if you're a 40-something person, look back upon your whole adult career, okay, and say, okay, what have I done in 20 years, right? What's been my career, right? For me, it culminated in being IT. I can say I'm 20 years in IT, right? You know, but you're 20 years in
25 years in basically self-defense. I know how to do that now because I've defended myself. Yeah. School of hard knocks, you know.
So, okay, so this is a great segue, because earlier we were talking about Laurie's timeline and how you got to be here. And so, like, you set the time machine back to 92, 95, and your whole childhood. Okay, so you started off pretty dark, and we won't go into your early childhood.
Another time.
It's for another time, and it's probably for not YouTube. It wouldn't survive.
Yeah.
YouTube, and we'd be deleted.
Yeah.
So it's the kind of thing, but it's like, you know, you have a dark, you know, you grow up in a dark life. okay, and there's a lot of darkness in your life, put it to you that way, all right? And it's interesting because we were just watching the live stream, Friday night live stream with Red Pill 78, okay, and he has this guy Tommy G, okay, this American New Yorker, had just like grew up on the street. Father left the family early, was, a bad guy, as he said, left the family early. He grew up on the street, running with gangs and mafioso and all this stuff. Ends up in prison. Ends up robbing a bank. He was like totally of service the whole time, like being really, really good kid, always looking out for everything, but there was always around all of the bad element, right? So he ends up doing an inside job and actually robbing a bank, and they got away with it apparently, and he was about to get away with it, but one guy who couldn't handle the guilt, and turned everyone in, and he ended up going to prison for it, and he did a couple of years in prison for it, and then he went into and in prison he had some bad experiences and ended up being in solitary confinement in prison for like 53 days in the dark, alone in the dark, right? And and one of the questions they asked him was, did they let you have clothes? And he said at that point it didn't matter, because you're alone in a room in the dark. What did it matter for 53 days? And he said he basically had a moment of clarity in his life, and he started back out and he started rebuilding his life and following the path. And we were like, oh, and it was like, this is this classic story of dark to light. And we find that a lot of the people that are the strongest healers and the strongest people that are the strongest fighters for good and want to help people the most have themselves gone through the hardest, darkest of dark. The healers that incarnate and they come here for some reason. They want to take on all this darkness and rise above it and come out of it.
Yeah.
And that's what you did for the first 20 years of your life, for the first up into your 20s.
I would actually say, well, because I didn't know what was going on, right? It was like, and I won't get into it. It's in my book, and we'll talk about my book another time. But I didn't know what it was.
You can buy our book. It's not going to be.
Yeah, The Alchemy of Ascension.
Yeah,
it'll be out again. I had to re-edit it again, right, and add a little bit more because I found out the truth.
The best version's coming out.
The best version
soon.
is coming out. Yeah, and so it's like I'm. You have to.
You rise above all that darkness. You had a turning point. Yeah. You have a turning point.
Yeah,
a few of them. You looked in the mirror, or like you were saying it was over the 6-month period where you were starting to have moments of awakening, and that led you to to break up with the person that you were with at that time, because he wasn't on the same path as you.
No.
And then you just, from that point onwards, you started, and the interesting thing was you gravitated towards what you said was making a drum.
Making a drum, that was my first thing. Making a drum and having a sweat. And like always, I ended up on my moon time, and I couldn't go into the sweat, right? But I could hold space in the kitchen. It was funny. It was just like, it's part of my life, right? Part of my ceremony.
Y'all get that code? It was her moon time, so she couldn't go into the sweat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be part of the ceremony, right? So that's just what followed me my whole life. And so I never really got that until the end of when it stopped coming, right? And I realized, and I really would love for all the women to know that, that moon time is sacred and precious, and it's power.
I've been actually working with this with my wife.
Yeah, it's power.
Just recently.
Yeah,
it
be
is
sweet
like
to her.
Clearing. I know.
Yeah,
I did. Yeah, we absolutely did that way. Like we cuddled, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah. If they did that, because at the Sundance, mooning women aren't allowed around the Sundance, because if you can piss them off, their energy's so powerful they can take people out. So, and all these guys are messing with these women when they're on their moon time, and it's like, just be nice, be kind, be sweet, do everything for them.
We should have a whole entire show just devoted to all that.
Absolutely, because it's so much power in that, and anytime that something was coming for me.
The moon time, you have no idea you probably don't have any idea how powerful it is, or why why you why.
Yeah, it's the cleansing and the death, and it's powerful, right?
So your okay, so your late 20s, early 30s. I want to know the healing, all the different healing modalities. I want to hear your resume for the last 20 years.
So all my life was a bit of a mess up until the time I've done many different things, right? Up until the time in my I think I was 32, 33, and then I got pregnant with my daughter, right? But I'd already quit doing all of what I was doing before, right? And opened my tattoo shop, and I was doing good things, right? And then I got rid of that guy, and I started making a drum, and then got rid of the guy that was actually made the drum first. Got rid of the guy, and then ended up pregnant, right? Which is another story in itself. God sending me somebody to save my life, basically, right? Send me a strong personality like my daughter.
Yes,
and
helped forced you to get on that.
Yeah, to stay there, right?
Straight
And
line,
I had no intentions of going back or doing anything like what I was doing before. It's like I'm just like I need to move forward. I didn't know where to go or what to do, but I had my tattoo shop, Millie's Tattoo Alley, in Langley there, and that was a great shop. But it's hard on your back, and when you have a little girl to look after, it's not a lot of fun. And do your best to get people there to help you, and it just isn't a lot of fun. And
all right, so you did a bunch of years. You did a bunch of years in your as an early new mom, single mom,
and tattoo artist,
and tattooing,
and going into modalities like I took energy, which I learned how to do clear buildings and that, because I had to clear my own houses because I kept moving into all these really dark places that would always need cleaning. So that was first
cleaning
on my
as in energetic
clearing, right? There's portals and all sorts of stuff that's opening.
Well, indigenous people do it, smudging.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's I'm a First Nation. I've done Sundance, and I carry a First Nations pipe, right? I carry a Sundance through the Sundance, right? I was an eagle dancer, so yeah. Like I'm careful with those ceremonies.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what I was just talking about.
Well, we were going through your resume.
My resume. Oh yes. And so I was taking energy, and first I started with the drum, then Reiki and Huna, NLP, timeline therapy, hypnosis.
Sounding familiar?
Yeah.
Anyone?
Then energy, and then I took Neuralink. It was this technique of that osteopath out of New Zealand made, right? And it was really good. It helped a lot, but I was too much in the tattoo artist and not enough in the healing stage at that time. And all the people that were coming to me were the ones that were the bombing out with the doctors, right? So they're on death's door pretty much, and they come to me once, and if I don't fix them, then that didn't work, right? And they'll go back to the doctor. One of them was on so much antibiotics.
We need to do a whole show about this, about this finding your path to healing, because I'm sorry, but we're all unique.
Yeah.
And it's like the thing that works for someone else is not necessarily going to work for you.
Yeah.
And so it's like you can't walk in. The ridiculous thing about this is, right, about this whole clearing.
Mm-hmm.
We're here on this show, talking about emotional alchemy because we've been down this road. Mm-hmm. Making all these stops all over to say, is this working? Yes. Is this working? No. Is this working? Is this working?
Yeah. There was some good
stuff. This works for us, emotional alchemy. But continue, please.
So with the Neuralink and all that, like I healed a lot of stuff, right? And I learned a lot about the body. And then I just started doing Sundance and, just connecting with spirit and learning through like having to clear my place and doing a lot of ayahuasca and mushroom ceremonies and, holding ceremony for people, right? It was a lot.
That was magic mushrooms.
Yes. And ayahuasca, yes, it's all plant medicine,
that's
right?
That's all plant medicine,
and working
including cannabis. Cannabis is plant medicine.
It healed me so much, that I have nothing but good to say about it. I talk a lot about the people that do those ceremonies in my book. Some of them are wonderful, and some of them are a lot of predators, right? And I really want people that are looking for medicine to be aware of who they're going to, right? you know? And so with all of that, then I started working with my emotional alchemy again, right? Thinking like, okay, I've done all that and I've done all that. And when I was doing the mushrooms, I would help in the ceremony. We would do some emotional alchemy before. And I'm like, I really need to get back to doing my emotional alchemy. And that's when the book started getting written. And, you know, they showed me, okay, like, if you want me to write about my life, I'm not doing that. So years later, they're like, how about your work? And I'm like, okay, but show me something that nobody else is talked about. And through ayahuasca and, you know, the holographic universe, when I was taking an NLP, I knew that we lived in the matrix, right? And so some people after a mushroom ceremony are sitting a little ways away, and what's happening is they're talking about the banking system, and they start getting angry and frustrated, and I'm sitting in the chair, and all of a sudden it feels like this 200-pound wet blanket is coming to sit down on top of me, and I'm like, whoa, what is that? And I look up, and here's this green neon grid with black mist on both sides of it, and it's coming to lock down on us because we're part of the grids of the matrix, right? And so it was wanting to lock down on us, and the shaman guy goes, and away it goes. And I was like, wow, there's something to be said for whistling while you work. And I think now I can talk about it. This is really, we're in the matrix. These are the grids. So whatever emotion that you're thinking, saying, and doing, you're attracting that 200-pound grid to yourself to lock on. And imagine how many times a day you're getting angry, you're getting sad, you're getting frustrated, you're getting hurt, right? And how many, it doesn't just play out at home, it plays out during work, during family time, during friendship times, relationships, everything that you do. People are going to come if you've got a lot of mad energy, and they're going to trigger you. Right? Because they also need, you know, whatever you're going to do and explode onto them. Maybe they need to feel beaten down or sad or hurt or rejected. And they're going to get that through your emotional outbursts. So it's just like a like attracts like, and it's like your anger is needed for them to feel rejected.
The law of attraction.
Yeah.
You only attract that which you're at the frequency of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I was being attacked all the time, right, this person said, I told her, I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know how to protect myself. And that's before I really got to work on the Merkaba and figured that out, right? But they just said, raise your frequency. And I'm like, well, how do I do that? And then I'm like, okay, I got to get back on the emotional alchemy, because the emotional alchemy goes right down to the root grid, you know?
Clearing all of that stuff, that dark stuff that keeps your frequency lower. You would clear that stuff, and then what's left behind is your natural state, which is that of love,
joy, peace,
joy,
truth, beauty,
creator.
Yeah.
And you know, you release the negative stuff, all that's left is the natural higher frequency, and you're starting to work at that higher frequency. And what happens is everything around starts coming to you, because you're attracting only that stuff at that frequency, and that stuff is all really cool stuff. It's a lot more fun to be attracting higher frequency stuff than it is to be attracting the really, really dark negative stuff.
But you look at it, I don't look at it like dark and negative, right?
Yeah,
I look at it like a frequency, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, because then people say, oh, all emotions, there's no bad or good. And there really isn't. It's just a frequency. What frequency do you want to work with? You want to work with angry people, or do you want to work with loving people? You know, and sometimes loving people can be very angry too, right? It's like, what's their stuff that's coming out? If people think they've got nothing and they're all good, please demonstrate walking through the wall for me. That's my only callback from all of that. If you think you're there, please demonstrate.
If you're there, please, by the way, show us your glowing light body.
Yeah.
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 It's
Through the
okay.
wall. Through the wall.
Just walk through the wall.
Yeah.
You know.
We're here to do the work and take everything to the fifth.
Just teleport over to the store. Get me a loaf of bread and teleport back.
You shouldn't be eating bread. It'll fatten you up. Get something better like chocolate.
Go and teleport to the store and get me some chocolate.
There you go.
And please teleport back.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
Yeah.
So that does that sum up why we're here? In a nutshell?
Well, except for Drunvalo, right? Then I went to Drunvalo because I wanted to be an ayahuasca shaman, and then I'm like, that the plant herself came to me and told me that is not my job this lifetime.
Who did?
The plant, the spirit of the ayahuasca, the madre is what they call her.
The mother.
So Mother Ayahuasca came to me and told me that is not my job this lifetime. And so I'm like, okay, well,
That
what
was
am I
nice.
going to do? And then Droomvelo's work showed up. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go with Droomvelo.
Wasn't long after that because was doing research and I happened upon Drumvalo Melchizedek
Yeah.
and following his work and following, like, I read a bunch of his books, getting an understanding, learning about how the nature of the universe is and understanding sacred geometry and about how, the whole matrix, as you put it, how we're all assembled and how we're made and what we're made of and what all this is made of. And then I went looking for a workshop in my local area and
there I am.
Teacher.
When was that? Was that, because I started in 2011, actually in this house, right? Just moved in. Yeah. So you came shortly after that.
So we're talking 8 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, 11, 12, 13, 14. In 2014, I quit working for Droomvelo, right? I'm still on their website, the School of Remembering, right? But it's like we couldn't teach anything other than, their stuff, right? Which was a 4-day workshop, a lot of heady stuff. I'm not like that. I'm like, let's get her done and clear those emotions, activate the Merkaba.
Yeah.
And now we're going to do Merkaba magic, which is like, I'm going to teach people you can be anywhere. You can, we're going to figure it out with you, right? How to come in and be a part of clearing emotions and healing the planet. So we want to have like classes.
Excellent.
And get-togethers, right? And then people can come in from
I'm
everywhere. Yeah. So we can all do that work. It takes 3, so let's get 300, 3,000.
Or 300 million?
Yeah. I wish. That'd be like a big chunk of the planet.
It's the whole population of the United States is 300 million.
Yeah. 364 or something like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty
So,
crazy.
by the way, that's my goal for subscribers.
Yeah. Get busy.
300 million.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We want them all on there
We want
because
them
we want
all.
them awake. I want people awake, right?
300
it's like,
million's not a big number.
Yeah.
It's not a big, If Ryan's Toy Review can have 10 million subscribers, we're totally down.
Ryan's Toy Review?
Yeah.
I don't know nothing about that.
Kids love it.
Oh.
He opens toys live, recorded.
Wow.
He doesn't live stream opening a toy, but, he plays with toys. It's a big deal.
That's crazy.
Makes billions. Oh, yeah. Who's the other big guy that I'm a fan of? Bat Dad. You got to see Bat Dad. Another YouTuber. Props to Bat Dad. Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
He's a guy. He's a guy on YouTube who wears a Batman. He's a dad on YouTube.
Yeah.
He's got like 5 kids.
Wow.
He wears a Batman mask and does funny stuff on YouTube. He's got millions of subscribers.
I think I might have run across that guy.
I guarantee you've seen his
funny.
stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Stuff of Bat Dad.
You know who I'm talking about, YouTube. You know that I'm talking. You know who I'm talking about, Bat Dad. Props to Bat Dad. We love you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my kids love you, and yeah, here we are on YouTube, man. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. This is our first show, and the whole intent of the first show was to, do our intro, do our introduction. So just to recap again some of the housekeeping issues, right? So the website is somewhere under the rainbow.ca. We're on Twitter right now. We're going to start posting on Twitter, on Parler. We'll sync up all the social media stuff. But in this day and age, where we're talking about, big technology, it's important to always come back to websites. Okay. So
Speaking of that,
the website is the anchor. So always the anchor is the website. Go to the website to see what's new.
Yeah. And I also have morningstartransformations.com.
morningstartransformations.com.
You want to come to some of my workshops?
Yeah.
My horse sessions.
Yep.
Remotely. Whatever you need.
Take a minute to describe the horse sessions. What's that?
Well, the horses, they see everything about you because they're prey animals. So as soon as we arrive, I could even tell them before we're
Sorry,
arriving.
what do you mean they're prey animals?
Well, they're prey animals in the wild, right? They're prey animals, right? The lion, or not the lions, but the cougars and all that will chase them down.
They're not predators. They're the prey.
They're prey animals,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They're feed, right? And so they're very cautious. They're not freaking out, but they'll take care of and they'll react when they need to react, and then they'll just go back to feeding. And so that's what they do, right? And so what they're doing is they're seeing everything about you, right? So even dogs will do this, right? So you might go, come on, puppy, right? And but inside you're seething because you got somewhere to go, and you really want that darn dog to come in the house, and they're like running around barking. Well, your dog sees your energy, and he's like, I'm not going anywhere near that guy, right? And the horses see the same thing, but they'll see past, present, and future. They see everything.
They don't see it. They don't see linear time.
They don't see anything. I'll tell you why, because I'll tell you how I know this.
All right.
So
they see all as
everything, all your wounds,
once.
everything.
Yeah.
I've even had him like readjust elbows where it was out and painful for a guy for a long time. But this one horse, Skook, he was falling down, right? I was like this, right? And, you know, King usually likes to play the guys or the girls, right?
King is one of the horses.
A big Palomino horse, right? He's big blonde, right? And over here is Skook, right? So he was kind of like the masculine, right? And so he was representing a friend of mine that is a fighter, right? That has gone over and was going to go fight, right? And all of a sudden he's just like he sways back and he's almost falls over. And I'm like, oh, what the heck has gone with that? And then he did it twice. And I'm like, what is that? And then I take some other students or other clients in the morning, and the little girl goes, wow, that horse just about fell over again, right? And some people say, oh, he's an old horse. He'll, that's what they do, right? But for me, I'm looking and I'm like thinking, wow, is this guy going to get knocked out? Is he going down? And it turns out that this guy who was fighting did a bunch of illegal blows, and he was elbowing him in the back of the head and at least connected twice. Good. So Skook was telling me that there was something bad was going to go down with that guy. And sure enough, it did. And then another time I'm like, is he going to win his fight, right? And Skook is going like this. He goes... And I'm like, okay. And guess what? He won the fight. So they see everything. They know what was coming for that guy.
Horses are awesome.
They are amazing.
Horses are amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they don't put up any barriers when you go to heal them. There's no barriers, right? But if I was going to go heal a horse and that person had doubts about what I could do with the horse, I can't do anything with the horse because it's not my horse. And it's their horse, and they're putting up a muddy grid that I have to try to work through.
You mean the horse's owner?
The horse's owner, or the dog's owner, or whoever I'm working with, right? Mm-hmm. I can't heal an animal that's not mine, right, without the owner's permission. And sometimes even the owner, when they give permission, they have their own thoughts about, the ability to work. Mm-hmm. And when that thought is there, it's like a muddy river, right? Mm-hmm. I can't get through it. Mm. And so it negates my ability to heal something. But when I'm just going there and the person, like I went to my teacher, and she does the horse thing, and she asked me to work on one of her horses, and then such good results that she's like, can you come back and work on Belle, right, in the knee? And I was working on Belle, and she's just standing there and she goes like this, right? And then once again, right, it was like, oh, that was a nice release, right? And all I was doing was working on the front knee. And that horse got a whole big shift in its energy, and then come over and snuggled up with me to say thank you.
That's awesome. What was the nature of the work that you were doing on the knee?
I was just sending light in there and energy, right? So I'm not a person that goes, oh, I'm going to send this and this and this, and I'm going to do this. I just put my hands up, right? And I know that, okay, Espresso, one of the other horses, he has something going on with his foot. So I put a gold ball of light with some violet fire in there and just clean that up. Maybe some purple for any kind of infection, right? What we think we create, right? And so then with the knee of Belle, right, I just sent lots of energy in and put blue light, because blue is for pain and inflammation. And she goes, yeah, that's what the other girl that was healing, but she had a light switch, right? I'm like, my light switch is right here, right? So I put the light in there, and then that whole big release came off.
Okay. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. What the hell are you talking about with putting all the light on there?
So in my mind,
so
I make a color up. It's like me. I'm going to send you some gold light and violet fire right now.
But how do you know? To pick the color gold and violet?
Well, because gold light is the Christ consciousness, and violet fire is Saint Germain's energy for transformation, transmutation.
So what are you doing?
So I'm sending the light in there, right, to heal it, right? And it's bringing out all the darkness out, right? It's like a laser beam, but with my hands. And then the violet fire is transforming and transmuting all the dark energy.
And because you like imagine it happening,
Yeah, it happens.
it therefore happens.
That's why I say take that and then go in and create your life. If you're not happy and you don't know how to create your life, this is how you do it. You get rid of all the stuff that you no longer need. That's why emotional alchemy works good, because we want to change our life, but you get rid of all the emotions that are holding you back from whatever it is, your divine destiny, whatever that is. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing, but
Get rid of the stuff that's not serving you.
That's right. Emotions.
Figure out what it is.
Yeah.
Old furniture.
Same when you move, right? You want to pack
Clothing.
everything up and take it with you?
No
or do you want to
way.
go through it, right? And we'll take just the goodies.
Yes. Get rid of it.
Yeah. Cleaning house is like cleaning the house, the hale. The Hawaiians call the body the hale. It's the house. Right? And when you're calling the aloha, right? Aloha na hale, right? You're calling the love down into the house.
That's a whole conversation in and of itself.
It's a chant. It's called Aloha na hale, right? So it's like it's a Hawaiian chant.
Yes.
And when you're chanting the chant, it's doing exactly what is happening.
Okay.
So I did that at Dreamville's workshop. It was the end of the thing, and people are like, "What is she gonna do? What is she gonna do?" And I get the thing in there, and I start singing that, and all the chaotic energy that was going on that took way too long for the people in our group to set everything up, right? Because they were doing it in break time when I wasn't there, and I'm just like, "Oh man, what are these people doing with all this?" Right? And I just sang that song, and it cleared the whole room, and there was like 100 and some people in there.
Now you have to sing it.
Not right now, but I will. Suspense.
You're gonna have to sing the song.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I will, but just not right now.
I'm sure you could Google it.
What's that? Aloha na hale?
Yeah.
Maybe.
You could probably see someone on YouTube doing it.
Yeah.
In Hawaii.
Maybe.
All right.
Maybe.
I've never been to Hawaii. I'm a little jealous.
Oh, I was there 4 times.
Ah.
Yeah, was in the Big Island a few times, and actually more, because I was on the Big Island 3 times, and then I was on Maui twice. Maui was fun. Yeah.
That's a whole show.
Yeah.
In itself.
Yeah, I was with.
Would you have a guest for that show?
For that show?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll
Okay.
think about it.
We'll see who comes up.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get some of the ladies that are like Auntie
Kauai
Io over
Pele.
there.
He's a big name.
What's that?
KP.
KP? I don't
Yeah.
know who he is.
He's a big guy. He's a big blogger.
Ah,
Blogger, been around forever.
a Hawaiian guy?
Yeah.
Ooh.
American guy.
Uh-huh.
American guy. Lives and grew up,
Awesome.
Kauai Pele. I can't pronounce it. Yeah.
I don't know what you're trying to say, so.
That's his name.
Yeah. Hawaiian is really easy, actually, right?
Okay.
Because it's always a consonant and a vowel, like ho'oponopono, ho'o, H-O, right? Glottal, right, is like a little apostrophe, right? Glottal, and then it's the O, right? So it's always ho'o, and then po-no. That's how you say it, right? Pono, right? So ho'o means to make, and pono means right. So we're making to make right twice. Ho'oponopono. You're making it right twice. But it's just the ho'o.
Making it really right.
Yeah. And so P-O-N-O, right? So when you want to pronounce somebody's name, it's very simple because it's always broken up into the 2 syllables or three letters or 2 letters. And then you can say, it doesn't matter if the name's this long, which some of them are, right? It's just like you start breaking it up and looking for the repeats in there. And you can speak Hawaiian. Not that you'll know what you're doing.
That's
or
cool.
Sounds right. Sometimes you might be saying things that, like at the Hawaiian trainings, right? The huna down there. The old guy that would teach the chant, he'd invite his friends because they wanted to sit and watch everybody chant. And, all these haoles, the white people, the no-breathers, right? Saying all these ridiculous things in Hawaiian. And they'd be sitting on the sidelines just cackling. Yeah. Funny.
No breather?
No haole, right? So the people that were from Hawaii, right? So when Cook went there, what's the name of your island, right? They would always say Hawaii. So Hawaii means the supreme life force that rides on the breath. And so they'd say Hawaii. So what is it? They called it the Hawaiian Islands. But really, they were just telling you, where do you live? I live on the supreme life force of the breath. Because they do. You breathe. If the Hawaiians a long time ago had a problem,
Oh my gosh.
they'd all get together and they'd breathe. And then at the end, if there was any problem left, which there usually wasn't, then they would solve the problem, but without all the emotion.
So he asked them where they live, and they said on the supreme life force of the breath.
Hawaii.
That's
what it means.
That's what he thought the name of the island was.
Yeah. So that's why they call it the Hawaiian Islands.
All right.
Good way to end the show.
There's something, man. There's always something with you. There's always another kernel coming out. Coming out, man.
Yeah.
That's great. So, I guess we'll call it.
Sure.
Guess we'll call it. So, yeah, we'll wrap it up. So, thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks a lot. If you're watching this years from now, or if you're watching this now, which is now for you, but years from now for us, but actually now for you. So, I mean, it's really all the same now. But thanks for watching.
I really appreciate it, right? I really love this opportunity to get out there, share a lot of the people that I know, because I know a lot of really super cool people that are just like, yeah, I want to come on, I want to come on, I want to come on. Every time I talk to somebody, it's like, yeah, I want to come on, right? And that is like, for me, that's a good response. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna fill the shows up through the end of this year and into next year.
Let's do it. So, so somewherundertherainbow.ca. Thanks for watching. I'm Coyote Don.
Laurie Morningstar.
Thank you very much.
Transformations.com.
Thanks very much. We'll see you on Twitter. We'll see you on the social media. And we'll see you on the next show.
Like and subscribe.